the weirdest moment of the trip was probably this scene with Steven Seagal, which happens in episode 3. We're in Bangkok. I'm in the hotel. I walk down past the restaurant and I see Steven Seagal having breakfast. I was like, that's Casey Ryback, and I believe he's eating breakfast in our hotel. I've got to go over and say something. So I went over and I was like, oh, can I get a selfie? And his manager was English, and he was like, oh, this is Jack Whitehall. He's a comedian in the UK, Stephen. And Stephen was like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, I'm filming this travel log. He was like, would you like me to be in it? And I was like,
he's a busy man.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. And he was like, okay, I've got an idea. This will be really funny. I'm going to walk out of the hotel, and you come up to me, and you ask me this question, and then just ask me this. And he asked me this thing about, like, I needed to ask him what the essence of Zen was. So I was like, okay. And I went and told the producers, like, can you just go outside and film? Because I think Steven Seagal is about to come and do a joke on camera. So he walked out, and I went, hello, Steven Seagal, I'm a fan of yours. What is the essence of Zen? And he threw me in a fountain. Because the essence of Zen is to submerge yourself in it. Now, yeah, hilarious. He didn't tell me that he was going to do that. He just threw me in a pond and then just walked off and got into his car and drove off without signing a release form or explaining what any of it meant. It was so surreal, and we all stood around like, what the hell just happened? I just got judo chopped by Casey Ryback into a fountain. And so then eventually they found him and managed to get him to sign the release form. So that element of it is in the show. And then, like, his manager was like, on the last day that we were there, he was like, do you want to have lunch with Steven Seagal? So I was like,
oh my God,
I've got to kind of see how this one ends, I guess. Like, yes.
Did you bring your dad?
I brought my dad. So me and my dad had lunch with Steven Seagal in this hotel in Bangkok. And it was exactly as weird as you would imagine me, my dad, and Steven Seagal having lunch would be.
How did your dad and Steven Seagal get along?
Apparently they have a mutual love of Winston Churchill. So they were talking about Winston Churchill, and he was like, Steven Seagal was like, oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of Winston Churchill. And my dad was like, I have a huge collection of Winston Churchill books. And they're like, and then they were talking, it was going really well. And Steven Seagal was like, I'm also a huge fan of Vladimir Putin. And my dad was like, I am not a fan of Vladimir Putin. I have no books on Vladimir Putin. And then I remember this. I thought it was quite surreal. It was all a bit of a blur, and I couldn't remember everything that happened. But there was a moment at the end where I looked over at Steven Seagal explaining to my dad how you could kill an attacker with a samurai sword if he runs at you. And I thought, I think my dad and Steven Seagal lead quite different lives. I don't know whether that is a transferable skill for Michael Whitehall as he's going around Putney getting attacked by like ninjas.